Shelby Harris, guys. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, Shelby Harris, when he first came here for a visit, what was it, a week ago or whatever it was?
Maybe 2-3 weeks, right?
My first reaction was like, okay, he's a guy. You know, I was like, the name didn't really strike a chord as if, oh, this is a really good player. I guess because I always think like, well, how many really good players are still out there at this point? Like, why is he still available? But then when the Browns signed him yesterday, I, of course, went to Pro Football Focus to see where his ranks were. And I'm like, wow, this guy's the 17th ranked defensive tackle in all of football. And against the run, he's number 5.
Yep.
Better than Dalvin Tomlinson. And the Browns are now the only team in the entire NFL that have 2 defensive tackles that were ranked in the top 17 last year on PFF. Does that mean they have the best defensive tackle combo? Maybe not. But last year they had the worst. So even if they're 10th, that's still a huge increase. The guy, it looks like he's getting about $5 million. Yep. So I have 2 questions for you guys. How excited, how big is this move? And why was he still out there? What do we think? G?
First
he's older? I mean, I guess that's it.
32.
Yeah.
Production, you very rarely see defensive linemen getting, big-time money after a certain age because of just the breakdowns and being, in the trenches. So I think age played a little bit of a role in it. And also, there's teams that like to go with younger players, right? They like to have guys that can be in the system where they can control assets for 4 years and figure out, and it's a low cap hit if they don't work. So you can cut guys, but you can also sign guys easier by doing the draft and go with younger. But as far as am I excited, I'm super ecstatic because this is a move. And I've always said, Andrew Berry might not be that great at really drafting players, but when it comes to his trades and free agent pickups, he's top tier. Because this guy right here just transformed your defensive line into a defensive line that is formidable, athletic, and they are going to get after people. You watch him and you go back, just simply Google him. I like D tackles. I'm a D tackle junkie. Go back and just watch some of the plays that he can make. McNuggets, I watched his short yesterday, and he was talking about it. But this guy is going to be a force along with Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith, Obo. You got Myles Garrett. Remember, when we got Zadarius Smith, we were just talking about whether or not they have the best defensive line in the league, right? And they still had a question mark at the other defensive tackle spot. I think legitimately you can make a case for them to be the top defensive lineman unit.
I'm going to piggyback off you right there. I do got to say one thing on Shelby Harris, and I'll get back to that. He was a cap casualty cut in Seattle.
Yeah.
He wasn't let go because lack of performance, lack of production. He's not a bad person. He's not a cancer in the locker room. He was let go simply because they just signed Draymond Jones, shout out St. Ignatius, to an $80 million contract, and Shelby Harris was set to make $9 million. So he was simply a cap cut casualty. He did nothing wrong. To piggyback off what G said, the Browns on paper, and granted paper means nothing until they prove it on the field, but on paper, the Browns do have the best defensive line in the entire NFL now. Bull alluded to it. They have 2 defensive tackles ranked in the top 17 last year. Dalvin Tomlinson, number 13, and now Shelby Harris, number 17. So they're the only team with that. They're also the only team in the NFL with 2 defensive ends who ranked in the top 20 last year. Myles Garrett, number 1, and Zadarius Smith, number 13. So you look at their starting defensive line from left to right. Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, Zadarius Smith. Those 4 guys all ranked in the top 17 of their respective positions per PFF last season. And Bull always says, well, you got to prove it to me first. Well, until they play this year, all we can go off of was last year.
Sure.
All 4 of those guys were extremely productive, highly valuable, and none of them look like they're at the precipice of their career where they're about to fall off a cliff. Harris, the oldest of the group, maybe he takes a slight step back, but even if he does, the upgrade from Harris to what we had last year at the defensive tackle position is monumental. His grade alone, 72.3.
Yeah.
You could take any two, pick your choice
of
the Browns defensive tackles last year and combine their PFF grades,
right?
And it's about what Shelby Harris did by himself.
Yeah, and again, against the run, which is what you're really, the biggest thing there, he's excellent. I mean, he's
really
elite,
good.
or at least was last year. I didn't realize he's played a lot of defensive end in his career, too.
Because he's 6'4", 290, and he bulked up a little bit in Seattle.
Right.
But he's not Dalvin Tomlinson size. He's smaller defensive
but
tackle.
what the thing is they already have guys that are a little flexible in terms of being able to play inside and outside, and he's another guy that can play both as well. And if you have guys, we don't really talk about that as much. Guys that when it comes to the defensive line, ability to be flexible and play two different positions essentially. But with a defensive coordinator as good as Jim Schwartz, he's going to be able to make use of that and confuse some offensive lines by moving guys around some.
Yeah.
And by the way, the guy was a 7th-round pick, and he's played, 8 years in the league or something?
8 years.
It's pretty impressive as a 7th-round pick.
And, G, you could attest to this better than anyone else. Maybe not just in Cleveland, but in the entire country. Defensive tackle, defensive lineman get banged up all the time. His ability to stay on the field is unprecedented. He's played since – his first season he only played 1 game. He wasn't hurt, just wasn't in the rotation. His second season he played 7 games. He's played 16 games in 4 of the past 6 seasons. The 2 that he didn't play 16, he played 11 and 15. The dude stays on the field, and that's something that has a price. It's like the Visa commercial, it's priceless.
Yeah.
You pay for availability, and for $5 million, you're getting a guy throughout his career who's been unbelievably durable in a position that, frankly, is not really durable across the league.
He's played in 88 of a possible 96 games in the last 6 years.
That is tremendous.
Yeah.
When you're in the trenches, like just little things, like, there's so many things because it's a contact sport every single play. Receivers don't get every play. Like, sometimes running backs, they don't catch the ball, quarterbacks especially. But when you up front in the trenches, you're going to hit somebody every play. Dumb stuff like wrist injuries or bicep tear, chest tears, pec tears, things like that. Not to mention there's all kind of garbage around your legs, ACLs, different things like that falling on people. For him to be able to play that many games in his time in his career is super impressive. And so if you look at it, for the most part, everybody up front that they brought in is durable. For the most part, Myles Garrett doesn't miss games. He flipped his car, still played. Yeah. You look at Dalvin Tomlinson and now Harris. He doesn't miss very many games. And so, Zadarius Smith has been banged up a little bit, but they did a good job in supplementing him and getting Obo and getting that guy to be one of their Swiss Army knives. Yeah. And now you can move in McGuire. I think McGuire will move into one of those positions, second team. He'll probably take over for Wright and Isaiah Thomas. And now the Browns continue to roll.
Harris is definitely starting, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
So you look at their top 5 defensive linemen, right? So Myles Garrett's their best. But guys 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all new. And all big upgrades. Think about who their 2, 3, 4, 5 on the defensive line were last year. And so their second best defensive lineman last year was Jadeveon Clowney.
He missed a boatload of time.
And who was their third? Who was their third best defensive lineman? Can you even name anybody?
Taven Bryan, based off production and PFF.
Taven Bryan on this team would be at best their 6th
He'd be cut.
defensive lineman.
He'd be cut.
At best.
Yeah.
So at worst, he'd be cut.
Perrion did get cut. Tristan Hill, I think.
He's hurt.
Yeah. But Tommy Togiai, I don't think
he's gone.
Jordan Elliott.
Bye-bye.
He may be gone. I think you got these 5 guys. You got Hurst, if he's healthy, he'll be on the team.
Are you talking about
6.
D tackles or including
D-line as a whole?
Yeah.
Hurst, if he's healthy, he'll be on the team. That's 6.
McGuire
7.
Wright. I think they're not going to give up on Wright yet. I know you said he's just a guy. But
they might go to IR. Well, they don't have to do IR yet because
but he could end up. But that's 8, and you're going to have what 9, maybe 9 defensive.
Yeah, your choice of whoever you like the most out of the rest.
We forgot about Ika. He's going to be here too.
Ika.
So that's it. That's 9 right there.
Hurst is Mo Hurst, depending on his health.
Yeah.
Could be the guy who, of those 9,
it's possible he
slides out and someone else comes in.
But I like him if he's healthy.
I thought Siaki Ika played
really good.
I thought he got a big 4th down stop. Yeah.
I think this move helps Ika though too, G, because now
strictly run,
but also if it's 3rd and 3 and you think they're going to run, you could put Ika on the inside, move out Shelby Harris to defensive end, and you got 3 run-stuffing guys, or more, not that he's not a good pass rusher, but a more run-stuffing guy on the outside with Myles Garrett.
Right.
And now you have the flexibility to mix and match. And the one thing we talked about heading into the season before yesterday was we knew Dalvin Tomlinson, that second D-tackle position, was just a question mark. Guys had talent, just hadn't proven it. And now there's never an instance where you're going to have 2 guys on the field that haven't proven it on the NFL level. I don't think we'll ever see a situation where either Tomlinson
Myles Garrett
or
should
him
be
are out.
fresher down the stretch because you could take out a few of his few of his snaps earlier in the game. I know it sounds crazy to say, well, why would you have Myles Garrett on the field? But if Myles Garrett plays a few less snaps, he should be fresher as the season goes.
It's actually
and as
a good
the games
thing.
goes.
I agree.
Yeah, he still play a lot. He'll still play the most, but still, you want to keep guys fresh. It's important to be able to, roll through a bunch of guys and have that depth. And the Browns have gone, at least on paper, from one of the worst defensive lines in football to one of the best defensive lines in football. It's amazing.
Defensive line and secondary, I think, are set. I love what they did out there. They even, from bringing in McLeod to Thornhill, bringing some of that leadership. They got 3 good corners. And then now you look at it, they've upgraded defensive line, which is going to help who I think is the focal point of the defense if they want to be what they want to be. I think the Browns have an opportunity to be a team that you base your meta around. I think people, if they play well like I think they will, teams will start to copy what they've done. Because if JOK can learn to diagnose, read plays, trust his eyes, and not get caught up in misdirection stuff and be a sideline-to-sideline player, the Browns now have what I would say, one of the most devastating defenses because they have enough speed to really lock down fast quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, but they still have guys that have the ability to cover in the back end if you're going against the elite throwers. And if JOK they can get him together, and what he does best is blitz because he just runs around people, that type of speed up front, when you got them and Myles Garrett and Zarius Smith, that's trouble. That is trouble for people.
Can I ask you a question, G, real quick? And this came up on Behind the Glass last night when me and Earl were talking. Someone asked, how quickly do you think we'll see Harris pick up this defense and kind of assimilate himself to Jim Schwartz's scheme? Excuse my ignorance. I told you my football credentials yesterday. Not good. How much does the defensive tackle really learn scheme to scheme when kind of their job is eat blockers and go forward?
Especially when it's simplified like this. If you're playing, to be honest with you, 3-4 defense is way harder to play than 4-3 defense because you're moving laterally. And so if you're playing in a 3-4, and I played in both, 3-4 is asking your lineman to either move one step left, one step right. And when you're moving, you have a 3-person panel in front of you. If I'm lined up on face up with the tackle and the guard is on this side and the tight end's on that side, what I'm doing is I'm looking towards the guard or the tight end to tell me where I should be going. So if I come off the line of scrimmage, I'm not even worried about the person in front of me. I'm looking automatically at the guard because if the guard is coming towards me, I got to do what I call redirect and go the other way because he's trying to reach me. If I'm sitting here and the tackle or the guard blocks down, I know that they're trying to block down on another guy and get to a linebacker. So now I have to get to that and beat this tackle in front of me to the spot. So you got to have good peripheral vision. You got to be stepping and always watching. But when you play in a 4-3 and they just tell you pin your ears back and get upfield, that's what we all love to do. Because what we do is say, we're not worried about where the ball carrier is going. We want to dictate and cause havoc where the ball carrier can't pity pat in the backfield and let me just pick my hole. No, he sees hole in the color in the hole like, wow, Myles Garrett is right in this gap, so let me cut it back. But when that defensive tackle's there and you got great defensive tackles, he's cutting right back into another guy that's getting in the backfield. So it's confusion, it's chaos, and every single play it puts maximum pressure on those 4 or 5 guys up front, and they don't get a break. That's why I like playing that.
So week 1, he'll be good?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's still a month.
Right? No, I was just making sure because I feel like a quarterback, he comes in, it takes a while. Defensive tackle, very different.
The defensive line was already the Browns' most improved unit. I think does everybody agree with that or
not even close?
Yeah.
So now, it's just another level, and it is. I guess it's just that he was a little older, that he was still on the market.
I wonder if he decided, hey, I don't really want to sign till part of training camp's already underway. I'm 32.
It wasn't like he was getting a multi-year offer at his age.
I'm guessing that's part of the reason he waited.
Right.
And I'm curious, do you think, because I know he visited the Browns last week.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had a handshake deal in agreement a couple weeks ago. Hey, we're going to bring you in. You don't want to go to Greenbrier, but we want you. You want to be here.
Right.
And just kind of take his time till he was ready to come to camp.
I also think, and I said this about a week ago, this could be this was a referendum on Jordan Elliott. They put Jordan Elliott in the Hall of Fame game, and that was a signal, especially when you're a guy that used to start last year.
Right.
They're just trying to say, I'm going to give you every opportunity to go out here and prove yourself and do your thing. And we want to see if we need to go up and upgrade.
Yeah.
He played in the Hall of Fame game. We didn't see much. So that means he was a starter, and he did nothing against 3s and 4s.
Right.
So they're like,
he should have dominated.
You should have dominated. You should have.
When you've been in the league this long,
yeah. He should have been flashing.
Yeah.
And so they made the decision. Hey, look, we got to go get somebody.
So you guys think he's cut?
I think he's
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think he's gone.
to G's point, I mean, he's a basketball reference here, but we watched the Summer League. I know you didn't, but we watched the Summer League, and you see the guys like Jabari Smith on Houston.
Yeah.
Came in, scored 37 in the first game, 40 in the second game. Like, all right, you're good.
He
Bye-bye.
left. Just put him on the plane
There's
to
a clear
go.
level of guys who are proven NBA guys
Yeah.
playing against guys in the Summer League, and in a situation like last week, Jordan Elliott played into the fourth quarter of
Right.
the Hall of Fame game, which is the backups,
Yeah.
because it doesn't even really count, and he wasn't standing out in a way that made
No.
you say,
Same for
who
Anthony
is this
Schwartz.
guy?
Oh,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just a little bit of writing on the wall is to G's point. I can't imagine now. Are you going to keep him over Mo Hurst?
No,
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I know what Jordan Elliott can do.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Mo Hurst, right?
Right. I mean, if Mo Hurst is healthy, then you've got 6 proven good defensive linemen. 6.
Yeah.
They had. I'll give Clowney. I'll say
They
Clowney.
had 2. They had 2
last year.
Yeah.
One didn't
This year
play
they
up to
have
that
6.
level, but at least he was proven. This year they had
and
6.
he had a good year the year before, to be fair. But they had 2. Now they have 6. If Hurst is healthy, even if he's not healthy, they have 5. So it's pretty impressive. There's not that many teams that have 5 proven starting caliber defensive linemen.
And Kevin Stefanski said that the starters are going to play. I would play. Who did I hear say this earlier? I forget where I heard it, but I thought it was a really good point. Anything that don't involve timing, those players not playing. Does it take timing to be like, oh, I'm a defensive lineman, I rush the quarterback? No. Like
So you wouldn't play Myles Garrett?
Heck no.
I'm not. We'll talk about.
So you're saying, okay, well, we'll talk about it a little bit about now, and then we'll get back to Watson later. We're going to have Tyvus in a little bit, but but you'd play Watson and the receivers?
I would play Watson and some of the second guys.
Not Cooper.
Not Cooper.
Nick Chubb doesn't take a snap.
No.
Not interested.
Nick Chubb would never take a snap the rest of his career. He's
never.
done.
0.
We're gonna do some of this
Conklin.
tomorrow and later too.
Conklin.
No thanks.
No thank you.
No, I'm with you.
I would start Hubbard and DeJuan Jones.
Hudson.
Excuse me, Hudson. Yeah, Hudson. I can always call him
I
Hubbard.
know.
Hudson and DeJuan Jones, they be starting. I'll get Nick Harris in there at guard a little bit because he has in poachage.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling with that. The guys I don't need to see none of the linebackers. Taki wasn't gonna play. Anthony Walker wasn't gonna play. I wouldn't even really play JOK like that, to be truthful.